we start, please support our channel by subscribing, and click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, let's start. The movie starts with Arthur Bishop. He has been residing in seclusion in Rio de Janeiro as Santos ever since faking his own demise. One day, Renee Tran, a courier who is aware of his true identity, approaches him and explains that her client wants Arthur to murder 3 targets and stage their accidents. Or else, she'll reveal Arthur by disclosing the video showing him escaping the car explosion years ago. Instead of falling into her trap, Arthur takes a picture of her to identify her, which prompts the guards to rush in. Using various on-scene props, he is able to ward off the guards. But as more guards approach, he jumps onto a glider to flee. He sneaks back after killing Tran and detonates his yacht in case anyone is still looking for him. And proceed to Thailand. He finds refuge at his friend May's beach house on a resort island, and finds out that Tran works for Ria Crane there. Few days later, Gina Thornton, a battered woman, shows up at May's resort for first aid before departing for a nearby anchored boat. May witnesses her being beaten by a man on the boat at night and tells Arthur. But May insists on going in, and Arthur behaves callously, believing it to be a setup. Arthur agrees to the rescue in order to keep May safe. They team up to save Gina, but the man is killed when his head collides with a bollard during the struggle. After failing to find any proof of the man's identity, Arthur sets the boat on fire. Arthur discovers that Gina is connected to Crane while May attends to Gina's wounds. He draws the conclusion that Crane knew Arthur would end up dating Gina. Then Crane would kidnap her to force Arthur to accept the murder job. When challenged about his theory, Gina reveals that Crane had pressured her into taking part by threatening the Cambodian children's shelter she oversees. In the days that follow, Arthur deceives Crane into leaving by acting in love with Gina, but ends up falling in love with her. They are kidnapped when Crane's mercenaries show up as expected. In order to guarantee that Arthur completes the killings, Crane holds Gina captive. A warlord named Krill who is detained in Malaysia is the first target. In addition to assuming the identity of a wanted man so that the police would apprehend him and throw him in jail, he kills a traitor inside the prison who tries to kill Krill in order to win Krill's trust. Then, by choking Krill, he ends his own life. He also staged the dead person praying to temporarily fool the security personnel. Arthur quickly places the gun bomb and fuse onto the wall later during the chaos to blow his way out. He coats himself in anti-shark cream before diving into the water. With the aid of the locator device, Crane's agents quickly track him down and aid in his escape. The next target is Adrian Cook, a Sydney-based billionaire and former trafficker of underage sex workers. He lives on the top floor of the building, in which there was 1-meter-thick concrete and alarm devices. But he also had an overhanging pool, which could be a point of interest. Then, Arthur contacts a housing agent and pretends to buy the apartment below the pool. There, he bypasses the tight security of Cook's penthouse and breaks the glass at the bottom of his overhanging pool using a tube containing chemicals that cause the glass to crack, sending him plummeting to death like flushing a poop off the toilet. While relaying details of the third target, Crane allows Arthur to speak to Gina, who repositions the camera, enabling Arthur to identify Crane's boat. The guard finds out Gina's intention, and immediately shuts down the stream. Judging from the ship number, Arthur attempts a rescue. He successfully wipes out some guards on the boat. But Crane knew Arthur would be coming and thwarts his rescue, urging him to continue on with his assassinations. The final target is Max Adams, an American arms dealer in Varna, Bulgaria. While planning his attempt, Arthur realizes that the targets are Crane's major competitors in arms dealing. Maybe he could tilt the scale if he manages to persuade Max to help him. He hides in a medical helicopter while he infiltrates Max's fortress. And after messing with the surveillance camera, makes his way into the elevator silo. Then, using a grenade, he destroys the elevator, causing Max to flee to the vault. He eventually got to meet Max in person there. Instead of executing him, Arthur informs him of Crane's scheme and enlists his assistance. Surprisingly, Max consents to help. He requests that Arthur stage his accidental death in a submarine blast, then they swim to safety. Afterward, Arthur informs Crane and tells him where to look for Max's body in the submarine. Arthur enters the submarine again after calming Max. He sets up a lot of booby traps there to welcome Crane's warriors. A short while later, the troop arrives as planned. By way of the mounted machine gun, wiring explosives or Arthur's accurate shooting, they are progressively put to death. He eliminates Crane's mercenaries on his own, then heads for the neighboring boat where Crane has anchored. He defeats more of Crane's men on the boat and saves Gina. But he also learns that explosives have been installed on the boat. He places Gina in the emergency pod so that she can depart first for her own protection. Then more mercenaries arrive, and Arthur keeps thwarting them until confronting Crane. Crane, in some ways, is no better than his gang. Arthur bound him with a metal chain. It's sticking away. When the bomb detonates, Crane and maybe Arthur are killed. Gina is taken out of the pod. Max goes back to the dock while lamenting Arthur until he notices a security camera. Weeks afterward, Gina goes back to Cambodia to resume her work as a teacher. But when Arthur also shows up there, she is taken aback. Max learns from the camera footage how Arthur once more managed to survive. He retreated into a watertight chain locker prior to the explosion, and left when it could be saved. In appreciation for saving his life and allowing him to monopolize the gun trade by stealing market share from Arthur's key victims, he eliminates the evidence.